your attention, please, at this time. We're going to go ahead and call the school board meeting to order. I want to welcome you all here this evening. I would ask if I could have your attention at this time. Thank you, and I want to welcome you all here this evening. Welcome to our school board meeting. I'd ask at this time if you would please silence any cell phones that you might have or electronic devices as to avoid any disruptions during our meeting. We are going to get started with the invocation provided by Brenda Haley, who is the Associate Minister at Bethel AME Church. We'll have our Pledge of Allegiance by the Osceola High School ROTC candidates. We have Kimberly Bonilla, Haley Miller, and Charlie Rivera. Our national anthem will be a quartet from the Osceola School for the Arts under the direction of Lisa Testa. And then our mission statement by Mr. Rasmussen, principal at Osceola School for the Arts. I'd ask that you please rise at this time for our invocation, Pledge of Allegiance, and national anthem.
Let us pray. Our Father, which art in heaven, we bow our heads to give honor and thanks with a grateful heart. I lift up the school board district of Osceola County before you, as well as its employees and its students. Tonight, as the school board prepares to do its work, we pray that each agenda item that is printed and put before them, God, that they would be able to discuss and clarify decently and in order. We ask that you would continue to bless the work that they are doing in this county. In the precious name of Jesus Christ of Nazareth, and in the name of Jehovah, I pray. Amen.
Amen. Our Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We remain standing for our national anthem.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Great job, and you may be seated this time. Thank you, students. We appreciate you being here and, of course, as usual, blessing us with your talents. At this time, our mission statement will be read by Mr. Rasmussen, principal at Osceola School for the Arts.
The mission statement of the school district of Osceola County is education which inspires all to their highest potential.
Thank you. And Dahlia for translation services.
My name is Dahlia Medina. I'm here to provide translation services. Mi nombre es Dahlia Medina. Estoy aquí para proveer servicio de traducción. Gracias.
Thank you. Board, we're going to go through, as usual, positive comments. I'll start with Mrs. Horn, and as she's getting started, Mr. Wells, if you join me just real quick again.
First of all, welcome Mrs. Joe Beach from OHS. Go Cowboys. No offense, Mr. Fancher. I also would like to encourage our parents and community people to sign up for our Osceola School District Weekly Media Tips. A lot of good information is there, And also, some of you retired people that's in our community, if you would like to volunteer, we'd love to have you. So there is a procedure that you need to follow there. So if you're interested, give us a call. We'd love to have you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am. Mr. Soto, before you begin as well, I do have to ask, for safety purposes, we do need to keep the center aisle clear. I know we have a full house. We have a lot of exciting things happening this evening, but if you can just kind of help make sure that we can accomplish that, that'd be appreciated. Great. Thank you very much. Mr. Soto?
Yes, indeed, we do have a full house. It was very encouraging to see so many folks come in and attend these meetings, even if it's once in a while when we have a lot of things going. And so I really appreciate that all of you are here, and hopefully we'll just make this go quickly so that everybody can get to enjoy it.
Very good. Thank you. Mr. Wheeler?
I've got a few. First, I want to recognize Celebration High School football is at 3-3. They're 500. That's the first time they've been at 500 in forever. But I want to congratulate Liberty High School, who beat them soundly this past Friday. They did a real nice job. Got to give credit where credit is due. And I want to also congratulate Osceola High School and Celebration High School. They had a swim meet recently, and it was a great meet. All the swimmers on both teams did a great job. The coaches did a great job. I want to recognize Celebration High School. The two avid teachers there, Ms. Jacobs and Ms. Bundock, they do a great job, and I get parents come up to me all the time saying, my son's doing great in Avid, my daughter's doing great in Avid, and I tutored with them for years, and I know firsthand, so they did a great job, so that's my recognition for tonight.
Great. Thank you, sir. Mr. Long?
Good evening. Thank you very much. I have two items. The first item, for those of you that don't know it, which is probably a majority of the people, I would like to recognize our superintendent. So our superintendent was named the Superintendent Literacy Leader of the Year by the Department of Education. I'm just going to read two quotes from that. Winners were selected based on their commitment, success, and diligence in teaching students and the community about the importance of reading and improving these skills. A quote from Commissioner Pam Stewart. These are truly inspired leaders whose enthusiasm and dedication are making great contributions to the future of Florida children. Let's have another round of applause for that. Another item out on the internet, in the blog world, emails, personal emails and things, I got drawn into internet chatter discussions, as it were, regarding a program that's, in my opinion, is very successful at St. Cloud High School. It's called PAUSE. And PAUSE is Purposeful Academic Work Time for Success. Failure is not an option. I didn't know that Principal Fancher was going to be here this evening. I had asked Dr. Akes to expound on a little bit about what PAUSE is doing, and as well as principals here, if he'd like to expound on what Mr. or Dr. Akes has to say. Dr. Akes, please.
Mr. Long, I appreciate it. Over at St. Cloud High School, they have the opportunity to put what we consider really a Tier 3 intervention in place for students for more opportunity and more time. And what I asked for was Mr. Fancher to come to the meeting tonight and give us kind of an overview of what he has going on with that, to where maybe we could answer some of those questions. Mr. Fancher?
Well, thank you for this opportunity, and I really have to say, first of all, that our PAUSE program, I'm here speaking tonight, but I'm the spokesperson. It really has taken the entire staff at St. Cloud High School to develop this program, and really it's been Mr. Schwartz, one of my assistant principals, that is the genius behind it. But I want to start by asking a simple question. Can you not pay your taxes, and you just say, you know what, I'm not going to pay my taxes this year. Just give me a 0 and I'll take that. That won't fly. But too often in schools, we tell our students, I'm going to hold you accountable, and if you don't do your assignment and you don't do your work, well, then I'm going to hold you accountable and I'm going to give you a 0, and then the student does not have to do the work. So I challenge that notion that by letting the students not have to accomplish the work, that we teach them accountability. And what we're saying at St. Cloud High School is that if you are not meeting the expectation, or if you're choosing not to, then we're going to step up and say failure is not an option for you. And we say that on a regular basis, that we care too much to let you fail. So if a student chooses not to do their work, or if a student is failing in a class, or if through the teacher-generated assessments that our teachers create on a regular basis, we can tell that a student is not learning, then we say, we care too much to let you fail. You need to come back now and do this. But we only have a certain amount of time, so we have altered our school day so we have an hour-long lunchtime. So that time is used. So if a student has not done their work, if they're choosing to take the 0, if they are behind in something, we say, you know what? We need you to come back and use this time to get that work done, to make sure you learn the standard so that you can move forward. And that's a conversation that we have with students on a regular basis. This is our 3rd year of pause, and I would say that the number of failures has decreased by 40% at St. Cloud High School, and that is the biggest. The biggest hindrance to not graduating is simply not earning enough credits, and you don't earn enough credits when you don't pass a class. So when we're able to make the students come in, and again, when I say make, we have conversations. It's built on relationships. And when students don't go, I call them up to my office. My admin team calls students up and says, we care too much. I don't want this to be a punishment, but you need to come so that you can graduate and graduate on time. So when students are doing what they're supposed to be doing, when they're earning their grades, when they're passing their classes, when we can prove that they're learning, they get that entire lunchtime, that 1 hour to A, join a club, participate in school, be active, or have that time. So it's very reinforcing for the students, but the benefits are exponential. We see attendance rates increasing. We see graduation rates increasing. We see the number of students passing increasing. We see the number of students involved in something. They have a hook in school, they have a goal, and they have a pathway to get there, and we allow that to happen. So that, I try to be as succinct as I possibly could. I hope that I answered your questions, but I serve at the superintendent's pleasure, so I have more time if you have any more questions.
Well, I just wanted to comment that when I first got elected, and Nate invited me out, and we sat down and we talked, and you brought this to my attention that you were trying to get this, and could I help get the superintendent on board at the time and keep that skid going? And I thought, what a great idea. I remember back when I was in high school, and I know the pressure put on probably all you kids out there that are going to school, that if you don't quite get some part of that math or something, you don't understand that language arts, whatever you're doing, you would feel embarrassed to raise your hand and ask the question. And if you didn't, you fell behind, you're further and further behind, and it's self-defeating. This is fantastic because you have an opportunity to go and say, I want this. I need this help. And I've talked to students all across the county that I have something very, very valuable in my pocket. When I have it, when it's mine, you can't take it away. You can't tax it away from you, you can't take it. That's an education. And this is one method, this is outside-the-box thinking by Mr. Fancher that is working. If you have any questions, if you're a parent or a student and you're not sure what this program is, I ask you please contact Mr. Fancher over at St. Cloud High School. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Okay. Superintendent?
Nate, where are you? Just, there you go. Is Nadia Winston here? Nadia, you out there in the hallway?
Yes, she is.
Nadia, you want to come up? I know how difficult it is for her to get up.
Pass her forward.
Come on up. There you go. Come on up.
We've already parted the sea for you.
You can stand over there next to Nate if you don't mind. There's Nate over there, the two of you. I just want everyone to know, there you go, that every year I receive an email from the commissioner indicating whether there are principals here that could be part of the Commissioner's Leadership Academy. And we submitted two names only, and these are the top performing administrators or principals in our district and every other district. They're very, very selective, and I want the board and everyone else to know that both Nadia and Nate were selected for the Commissioner's Leadership Academy. Congratulations. We've got great news. If you don't mind, just a couple of other things. everyone knows, the teachers know that they all have their evaluations done, and I have been spending quite some time with our principals last week and this week doing evaluations, and to me, this is one of the highlights of my year, is actually spending that one-on-one time. We do this 3 times a year, and it's an opportunity for principals and I to talk about curriculum and instruction and what's best for students. So just wanted the board to know that we're spending 2 weeks of one-on-one time. I think, Mr. Weishire, you'll probably talk about the academic resource fairs. We had our very first one, highly successful. I'll let you talk about the others. We also had our SAC cadre conference last week, and in the pouring rain, we still had a decent attendance. And we had our college informational night over at OHS, where we had several parents and students come and get some information in regards to actually applying to colleges. So we're very, very grateful for parents to come out and continue learning about the good things that we're doing in our district. Thank you.
Great. Thank you, ma'am. Mr. Phelps?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Weishire. I was going to recognize our superintendent for her recognition with Just Read Florida. Mr. Long beat me to the punch, which is great, thank you. But I would like to just add that our vision is to outperform all other districts in the state. And we're just thrilled that Ms. Luciano has been recognized as the leader in the state of Florida for literacy. So congratulations again.
Thank you.
Excellent. Next time I'll switch the order on the toms that I go to first, and we'll get that taken care of. I have a few that I want to run through. First, Melba, again, congratulations to you, and I'm glad that others have already mentioned it. Last meeting, we congratulated the new school board members and the Miss Carries as well for her race. But Jay, I recognize afterwards we failed to recognize you on another victory as well. I know you don't want it, but people work hard to win elections, and you did, and I wanted to make sure that that wasn't lost either. So congratulations to you. The academic fairs I did want to just touch on briefly. We had the first one at Liberty High School. Again, in spite of all of the weather that we've had lately, we had a great turnout. There were a couple hundred people there learning about all the information and the resources that are available in the school district to parents and families to help their students extend learning outside of the classroom and into the home, which in my opinion is really where some of the most important learning really does and should take place. I want to thank, as I normally do, Dana and her team for working so hard to make that so successful. But I also want to encourage everybody, this Thursday evening is our next one. It's going to be taking place at Kissimmee Middle School. And if you didn't go to the Liberty High School one, or if you live in the area of Kissimmee Middle School, I want to encourage you to attend that. And I also want to challenge you to beat the attendance that we had at the Liberty High School one. It's my hope that as we continue to have these, and there's one more coming up in St. Cloud, I just don't know the date off the top of my head, but that these are great opportunities for parents to learn what really is available to you and to your students to make sure that they're learning and as successful as possible in their academic strives. I also want to thank Mr. Muniz and the staff in transportation. I had the great joy of going on a bus ride about a week ago. Yeah, and I had a great time. They obviously put me with the best bus driver in the entire district because I really did enjoy it, but I think aside from just getting a good perspective on what takes place every day with transporting so many thousand students safely, I got to see also the love and the care that's expressed by the bus drivers that take care of these students every day. I got to learn more about superheroes, which that was pretty fun as well. I got to talk a lot about sports with some of the kids, so there's just a lot of really fun things that took place, but more than anything, it was a great learning experience for me. So thank you, Mr. Muniz, for your team. And then lastly, I have the pleasure tomorrow to speak at Bella Lago Academy again with the AVID program. And really looking forward to that. I know that board members are engaged in different schools all throughout the week and the months. But getting an opportunity to get in and speak to these students about what leadership looks like, about what they're, again, Mr. Fancher and I this morning about talking about setting goals and everything, about how these students can seek and understand what their goals are and then work hard day in and day out to make sure that they achieve them. I'm really looking forward to being a part of that. So thank you for indulging me. And with that, we'll move into some very exciting things. We have a packed house tonight, and I'm sure it has to do with these exciting presentations and the great achievements that we've had in our school district. And so we'll move into our first presentation this evening, which has to do with some excellent students that have achieved perfect scores on 2 or more of assessments regarding FCAT and end of course. Mr. Allen?
Thank you, Mr. Weishire. Good evening, Board. It is with great pleasure that we bring before you this evening a very special group of students. As you know, in most of our grade levels, students are assessed at the end of each school year on at least 2 state assessments. Achieving just a proficiency on any one of these tests is reason for celebration. Achieving above average is fantastic. Achieving a perfect score is truly extraordinary. However, board, this evening we bring before you and celebrate with you our students of Osceola County who have scored a perfect score on at least 2 of our state assessments from last year. So Superintendent Luciano and Chairman Weishire, would you mind coming down to the front and helping to recognize our students' outstanding accomplishments? Oh, no, I'm sorry. And students, when I call your name, if you could please come to the front, receive your award from Dr. Akes, and then remain in the front so we can get pictures. Thank you.
Moms and dads, feel free to stand up to take pictures if you have to.
As a 3rd grader from Hickory Tree Elementary, congratulations to Jade Junkins. Please come up to the front. From Cypress Elementary School, as a 3rd grader, Zachariah Khan. As a 3rd grader from Ventura Elementary School, Jacob Ziegler. As a 4th grader from Narcousie Elementary School, Alejandro Candelario. As a 4th grader from Ventura Elementary School, Solomon Hill. As a 4th grader from Koa Elementary School, Zariah Jackson. 4th grader from Eastlake Elementary School, Nadia Nolan. And as a 4th grader from Narcousie Elementary School, Peter Rodriguez. As a 5th grader from Celebration K-8 School, Mateus Alfaro. And as a 5th grader from Narcousie Elementary School, Nolan Eady. Fifth grader from Parton Settlement Elementary School, Zachary Frano. And as a 5th grader from Eastlake Elementary School, this is one of our students who scored a perfect score on 3 of our assessments, FCAT Math, FCAT Reading, and FCAT Science, Mirna Pinto. And as a 5th grader from Eastlake Elementary School, Isabella Tagala. And as a 5th grader from Celebration K-8 School, Liliana Ziamba. As a 6th grader from Renaissance Charter School at Poinciana, William Wilson. And as a 7th grader from Celebration K-8 School, Ashton Keaton. As a 7th grader from Parkway Middle School, Winston Kahn. And as a 7th grader at Celebration K-8 School, Ioana Lisandru. I hope I got it. I really worked hard with that one. As an 8th grader at Celebration K-8 School, Alexander Amaya. And as an 8th grader at Neptune Middle School, Sydney Amos. As an 8th grader at Narcoossee Middle School, Sophia Shula. And as an 8th grader at Celebration K-8 School, Louis Kanha.
And he doesn't play basketball.
As an 8th grader at Celebration K-8 School, Eric Dye. And from Celebration K-8 School, this is another student who scored a perfect score on 3 of the assessments, Algebra 1 EOC, FCAT 2.0 Reading, and FCAT 2.0 Science, Owen De Leon. From Neptune Middle School, as an 8th grader, Cameron Green. Another 8th grader from Celebration K-8, Josie Lowe. As an 8th grader at Kissimmee Charter School, Angel Mata. As an 8th grader from Horizon Middle School, Jamila Patel. And as an 8th grader from Canoe Creek Charter School, Marie Reyes. As an 8th grader from Neptune Middle School, Miguel Soto. And as an 8th grader from Four Corners Charter School, Aisha Tahamid. And as an 8th grader from Celebration 8 School, K-8 School, Lucia Victorelli. And as an 8th grader from Horizon Middle School, Justin Williams. Not present with us here this evening, but still we would like to recognize from Harmony High School, Lauren Sevilla. And from Celebration High School, Gansham Sukai. Representing the Osceola County School for the Arts, Sophia Diaz. And from Gateway High School, we'd like to recognize Jeffrey Wang. Dr. Riggs, are all the plaques accounted for?
Yeah, we got a flag.
We have a plaque. Sophia, just making sure everybody was recognized. Are there any students in the crowd that were not recognized? Okay. So I would like to congratulate these students on their hard work, their dedication, and their commitment. But also would like to take this opportunity to give true thanks to their teachers, to their administrators and the staff, and of course the parents for your confidence and support and dedication to the school system of Osceola County. Please celebrate with me in their student success.
You guys can come forward to get the pictures. Students kind of squeeze in. Make sure you get the good picture that you wanted for tonight. I know there's some parents in the back, so make your way up to the front, so make sure you capture that image.
There you go. There you go.
Thank you. My team. Go guys, one over there. Go. Change it up. Go. Yeah. Right there.
Right here. Right here.
Fine. That's okay.
Second.
Wait, go back, Marissa, when they got one. Okay?
Students, before you leave, if you could, and parents and audience, if I could have your attention one more time, please. There was one student that was left out, and I apologize. I want to make sure she is recognized. Can you please help me in celebrating with Melanie Guerra, representing Celebration K-8? Thank you.
How about if you've taken a picture with us, go up with your mom, and that way we'll know who's left. Which one? Here? Take a picture right here. Got it. Congratulations. Here, tell me who's Dad? Dad. Right here, right?
Thank you. Right over here. Right here.
Good evening. It is my pleasure tonight to be here with Robin Davis in our Oasis School Volunteer Office to come before you tonight to represent the 5-Star School Awards, and that is the highest awards given out by the Florida Department of Education for community involvement. First, I'd like to thank the school board and superintendent for making community involvement a continued priority. I am pleased to report tonight that 37 Osceola County schools have been designated as 5-star schools. This state award is presented each year to schools who have shown evidence of exemplary family, school, and community involvement. To qualify, each school must meet 100% of the state's established criteria for the full engagement in 5 areas: business partners, volunteers, students, families, and school advisory councils. Every 5-star school must present and prepare a portfolio to document how they model excellence through specific community involvement programs. As I announce our 5-star schools, representatives are asked to please come forward to receive your plaque. Boggy Creek Elementary School. Chestnut Elementary School for Science and Engineering. They might be out in the hallway.
I think there's Boggy Creek.
There he is.
Yep.
There's Buggy Creek. I think they're making their way in now. Okay, Chestnut Elementary School for Science and Engineering. There she is. Cypress Elementary. East Lake Elementary. Flora Ridge Elementary. Hickory Tree Elementary. Kissimmee Elementary. Koa Elementary. Lakeview Elementary. Michigan Avenue Elementary. Mill Creek Elementary. Narcoossee Elementary. Neptune Elementary. Parton Settlement Elementary. Pleasant Hill Elementary. St. Cloud Elementary. Sunrise Elementary. Thacker Avenue Elementary School for International Studies. Ventura Elementary. Discovery Intermediate. Horizon Middle. Narcoossee Middle. Neptune Middle. Parkway Middle. St. Cloud Middle. Celebration High. Harmony High. Liberty High. I think this one's going to get a lot of applause. Osceola High. St. Cloud High. Celebration K-8. Harmony Community School. Osceola County School for the Arts. Westside K-8. Balago Academy. Four Corners Charter. And our last one is Kissimmee Charter. This is very impressive, and congratulations to all of our five-star schools.
We're gonna move up, so you guys have to scoot in here somehow, because Dana can't get. Come up, move up. Tall people in the back. The whole thing. Come on, get.
Somebody go to this side as well.
Move up, move up. There's space. There we go. There we go. There's space over here. There's space over here. Come on this side, Alan. There you go. This is the best one we can do. Oh, yeah. All right. Take the next one of those panoramic. Got it? Oh, God. Oh, my. What's the next one? Wait. I'll tell you. Oh, the next one is 5-star. Oh, Lord. Feel like partners. We might. Hold on.
At this time, it gives me great pleasure to introduce to you the Vice President of the Florida Alliance of Arts Education. The Florida Alliance of Arts Education does wonderful things in conjunction with our Department of Education for all arts programs throughout the state. And at this time, please help me welcome Vice President Scott Evans.
Thank you very much. This is a great evening of celebrating academic success as well as arts. Am I not on? Is that? I'm good. Okay. As well as success in the creative arts, which we love, and I love that about Osceola County. Thank you for providing me this opportunity to speak here tonight on behalf of the Florida Alliance for Arts Education in order to designate the Osceola County School for the Arts as an Arts Achieve Model School. We are here this evening to honor the work of the outstanding leadership and faculty at the Osceola County School for the Arts. However, I wanted to take a moment to recognize Superintendent Luciano and each of you as members of the school board for your commitment to providing arts education opportunities for all your students in Osceola County Public Schools. Thank you for that, because that's a great effort. The Arts Achieve Model School program recognizes schools that offer exemplary arts programs in at least 3 of the 4 disciplines: strong arts integration programs, supportive instructional settings, outstanding community connections, and other factors that make them valuable examples. Schools receiving this designation open their doors and model best practices for other schools who wish to enhance or affirm their arts education practices. An exciting aspect of this award is that the Arts Achieve Model School is partnered with another school that is looking to strengthen their arts programs. The 2 schools then become a collaborative. This year, the Professional and Technical High School was chosen as the collaborative partner school of the Osceola County School for the Arts. These 2 schools went through guided collaborative planning sessions during the FAAE Summer Conference, and they have committed to partnering throughout the year. Please welcome Ms. Nancy Brilliant to come and say a few words about their designation as the collaborative partner.
Good evening. I just wanted to share how very excited we are to collaborate with Osceola County School for the Arts at PATH. You guys might not think that someone in auto shop is creative, but you come on down and we're going to prove you wrong. I know that when I was Teacher of the Year, my mantra was, and still is today, that creativity absolutely must have the same status as literacy. And I am so thankful every day that that is our vision as we achieve our greatness as a district, beating out everyone else in the state of Florida. And the way to do that is with the arts. So I am so thankful for this collaboration. I'm just so excited for our great partnership. And I want to share with you how it happened. It should take about 30 seconds. You can time me. It started with an idea of how to bring more AP, bring more rigor, more career, more college readiness, but still bring that arts forward. So I tell you this as a reading teacher, as an English teacher, that teaching AP art history is teacher crack. It's the coolest. These kids, they're excited. Come and share my classroom. I challenge all of you, come see what we're doing. We now have 12 to 13 kids that are seeing what's going on. They said, Ms. V, we want to have your world cultures class. Can we start a new class? Can we become AP students? If that's not learning, guys, with creativity, I don't know what is. So I welcome and I'm so excited for our partnership. Thank you.
Thank you, Nancy. I'm glad that I got most of the beginning stuff out of the way before Nancy got up here, sort of the scripted part. We really do look forward at the Florida Alliance for Arts Education to see some great results out of this collaboration and this partnership. However, at this time, I would like to invite Principal Jonathan Rasmussen and his team from the Osceola County School for the Arts to the front of the room, as well as the Fine Arts and Performing Arts Resource Teacher, Ms. Debbie Famey. Perfect. The application review process to receive the designation of Arts Achieve Model School is extremely rigorous. Schools that apply for this recognition conduct a comprehensive self-assessment as part of the application process. Applications are then evaluated by a committee of highly qualified, experienced arts education professionals. Based on the outcomes of this review, site visits are conducted for the strongest applicants, and final selections are based on the visits. 7 schools total out of the state of Florida were selected this year. And Osceola, by the way, has been fortunate enough over the past 9 years to have had 3 schools designated Arts Achieve Model Schools, which is another great achievement in the state of Florida. So congratulations on that. The designation is held for 3 years, and we are excited this year to announce that our Arts Achieve Model School here in Osceola County is the Osceola County School for the Performing Arts, and we want to congratulate you for this great award in recognition.
couple of paths.
Good, and now we're balanced.
Congratulations.
Apparently, I'm also supposed to say a few words. Really, we're very proud of this, but we know that there's no way that we would be able to be an Arts Achieve model school if it weren't for our outstanding faculty and our extraordinarily talented students. Some of them you saw this morning. One of them's right here at every school board meeting. If it weren't for our teachers and students, we'd never be able to accomplish this. And also without the support of the school board and the superintendent and then the community as a whole, we wouldn't be able to do this. So thank you all very much. And on a side note, earlier Mr. Wheeler was talking about some of the who won last week. I'd just like to say Osceola County School for the Arts is the only school that is undefeated in all sports. 12 years.
But you haven't scored yet either.
Really good defense, right?
Right.
All right. Well, guys, that's just absolutely a great time of our board meeting. I know I speak on behalf of the rest of the board members when I just say, and I know a number of people have left, but congratulations to all the students, congratulations to School for the Arts and the partnership with PAS, and congratulations to all the schools that have worked so hard to achieve that status. This really is a highlight, I know, for us as we sit up here each week or each month. So we have one more presentation. It's the adoption of the proclamation for National Domestic Violence Awareness Month.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Weishauer. I'd like to welcome Evelyn Herrera Jackson. She's the Director of Outreach Services for Help Now of Osceola County. She is here today with several of the students to read the proclamation.
Thank you very much. Thank you, board members, for approving this proclamation. I'd like to begin. We're recognizing October as Domestic Violence Awareness Month, whereas studies have shown that school-aged children who witness violence exhibit a range of problem behaviors, including depression, anxiety, violence towards peers, whereas between 3.3 million and 10 million children in the United States live in a household where domestic violence is shown.
Whereas youth and victimized in domestic violence, honed by being neglected and physically and or sexually abused and often suffers from severe stress. Whereas children do not understand the cycle of domestic violence and in turn internalize their feelings about the situation. Whereas the internalization can manifest itself in various ways, where the child has academic problems, aggression, insomnia, irritability, distractibility, and truancy.
Whereas children who come from homes in which violence is taking place are more likely to become the abuser or the victim in their intimate relationship. Whereas boys who have witnessed abuse of their mothers are 10 times more likely to abuse their female partners as adults.
Whereas childhood exposure to family violence disrupts cognitive and social development and leads to an array of adverse outcomes such as violence victimization. Whereas young people victimized by a dating partner are more likely to engage in a risky sexual behavior and unhealthy dieting behaviors, and the experience may disrupt normal development of self-esteem and body image. Whereas nearly half of teens who experience dating violence report that incidents of abuse took place in school buildings or non-school grounds.
Whereas teen dating violence can increase the risk of later substance abuse, mental health problems, sexual risk behaviors, teen pregnancy, suicide, weight control, and ongoing difficulties with intimate partner relationships. Whereas by providing young people with education through healthy relationships and relationship skills, and by changing attitude that support violence, we recognize that dating violence can be prevented. And now, therefore, we, the beautiful school board acknowledges, do hereby proclaim October 2014 as National Domestic Violence Awareness Month and call upon the citizens of our community to join us in working towards the elimination of personal and institutional violence against all persons.
So moved.
Thank you. Well, we do have a motion by Mr. Long with a second by Mrs. Horn on this. I assume there's no discussion. So all those in favor, please indicate by stating aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. The motion does carry and the proclamation is adopted by the school board.
Thank you very much. I'll be less than 30 seconds. I want to thank, we do have our chairperson for the Osceola County Task Force and a member of Carmen Jenny Vargas, as well as Carmen Vinny. They are members of our task force. We meet once a month, the first Wednesday of every month at the Kissimmee Police Department. We want more community involvement. We at Help Now believe that domestic violence is preventable. And if we teach our young people how to be in healthy relationships, I think that's a beginning. That's about promoting social change. And I want to say I am a very proud person that we've had this relationship with Mr. Phelps that have invited us as a certified domestic violence center to teach children, teach our teens on staying in healthy relationships. When I get on a statewide conference call with all the other centers throughout the state, they have problems opening, the school districts are afraid of opening the doors. But I will tell you, it's been 8 years so far. The school district has been very welcoming to us. We know, I understand that you know that it's about change, and the only way we could do is through education, so we can stop domestic violence from happening, especially with our children. Thank you very much.
Thank you. And just a personal expression of gratitude for the work that you guys do day in and day out to make sure that this important cause is both known about and then stopped throughout our community. And I think I speak for all of us when we say we welcome the partnership with your organization. Thank you. Board, that does conclude our presentations this evening. We do have appointments and transfers. Superintendent?
Yes, sir. If Sandy Lockery has a position, and Sandy, could you come up and introduce your candidate for assistant principal, please?
Good evening, everyone. I'm Sandy Lockery, the proud principal of Flora Ridge Elementary School, and I am here tonight to appoint Mrs. Katie Adams as my assistant principal. I am so excited. She is so passionate, so energetic, so proactive with parents, and most of all, safety-minded, which everybody that knows me knows I'm a freak about that. So I am so excited to have her. And as Mrs. Moen put, she has a whatever-it-takes attitude about everything, which is also very impressive. So this is Mrs. Katie Adams.
And
Motion to approve.
Recommendation.
I am asking for approval. This is my first time.
Motion to approve.
Second with discussion. I just want to say.
That's one moment, if you may. No problem. And we have a motion by Mr. Long, actually a second by Mrs. Horn on this discussion. Mr. Wheeler.
Katie, how many championship teams have you coached?
I have 5 straight girls basketball championships and volleyball and a cheerleading.
I know. I mean, when I run into anybody from Neptune Middle School, I mean, Cindy, it's not a knock. The first person they talk about is Katie. They love you over there. So I mean, whoever takes your spot there has big shoes to fill.
You say no, it's okay.
No, I'm not saying no, Cindy. It's okay.
No, let me back up.
Katie, I know you're going to do a great job. I've watched you coach for it seems like a lot of years. I'm thrilled for you. I know that you've wanted to be administrator for a long time, and I know your husband as well as very well also. So you'll do a great job. But I know they're going to miss you and they love you at Neptune, but they're going to love you at Flora Ridge. So I'm really happy for the school and for you, Katie.
With that athletic success rate, we'd all think you came from the School for the Arts after what we heard tonight. Right? So, but we do have a motion and a second. Is there any other discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all those in favor, please indicate by stating aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. The motion does carry 5-0. Congratulations to you,
Thank
Katie.
goodness.
And Katie, we normally do ask if you have anybody here to show you support tonight, that you'd introduce them so that we know who's here to support you.
Well, I have my husband Ryan, my mother Kathy, and then my
Aw.
2 kids, Carolina and Kyle.
Outstanding.
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Ryan, are they spoiled? Oh.
Okay, and we are at the time on our agenda for open for public comment. I don't have anybody that handed in any papers to speak tonight. If there's anybody here that wishes to address your school board, I would welcome you, though, at this time. Okay, hearing and seeing none, we'll move on to agenda modifications. I'll start to my left with Mrs. Horn.
Good to go.
Thank you, ma'am. Mr. Soto?
None.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Wheeler? Thank you. Mr. Long?
None.
Superintendent, you don't have anything either, and I don't as well, so board will entertain a motion on the approval of the consent agenda.
So moved. As presented.
Thank you, sir. I have a motion by Mr. Long with a second by Mr. Will on the approval of the consent agenda. Board, is there any discussion? Hearing, seeing none, all those in favor, please indicate by stating aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. The motion does carry 5-0. Board, that will bring us down to information items. We have communications update.
And that'll be Dana. And board, we've had a lot of conversations in regards to going out and getting information out to parents and community. And Dana and her very small department have done an excellent job. Dana.
Good evening once again. It's my pleasure tonight to give you an update on new communication strategies that have been put into place for this school year. The Osceola School District is committed to open, honest, and ongoing communication with all of our stakeholders. Providing frequent, clear, and results-driven communication is the key to fostering trust and increased loyalty to the district and building those valuable relationships that help us reach our vision of outperforming all other districts in the state of Florida. So what's new for 2014-2015? We have greatly expanded our social media outreach this school year. We now have school district pages and are posting daily, multiple times a day, on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. We will also be partnering soon with our Human Resources Department on a LinkedIn page, and that's going to help with our recruitment. I think it's also important to mention that in order to comply with public records requirements, we are utilizing Archive Social so that we automatically archive records of all social media activity transmitted by any device, computer, or network for these community relations sites. We will now be working to grow an audience of followers for these social media accounts, encouraging people to like us, subscribe to us, repost us, retweet us, download us, etc. And now we're not in competition with Orange County Public Schools, but I do want to say that our Twitter followers were almost equal to Orange County Public Schools. So I just wanted to mention that. We have also spent time evaluating whether our current district website is meeting our needs. And the resounding answer is absolutely not. The main district website has 70+ websites attached to it that offer information, documents, and interactive applications for all schools and departments. The site currently houses over 600 pages. More than that, actually. We are currently working closely with the IT department and purchasing to go out to an RFP in the next few weeks for the following things. We've actually just written our scope of work. We're going to look to design, develop, and for someone to host a new district website with a cleaner design and a content management system that is easy to use and manage so that all of our pages stay up to date. The platform that the current district uses now is well over 10 years old and is no longer being supported, and updates aren't being provided. We are also looking for the design and development of a mobile app for the district. Research shows that mobile usage has surpassed the desktop computer usage in today's society. Another fact, 80% of the users spend their times on their smartphones within apps. So we know that our parents want and are used to having information right at their fingertips, and that's where we're going. And finally, the contract with our current provider for the call-out system and the emergency notification system is coming to an end. Now it's time to relook at what options and service providers are out there for community outreach, attendance notifications, and emergency communications with parents, students, and our employees. We strongly believe that in order to increase engagement with our parents and community, we need to meet the audiences where they are. And more, they're on their smartphones and other mobile devices, as you have heard. As such, I'm proud to announce that our weekly electronic e-news newsletter that comes out every single Friday throughout the school year is now mobile friendly. This means that it is reformatted to better and easier viewing on all mobile devices. We currently have over 7,000 people who have actively subscribed to the newsletter, all wanting the latest information and news right from the school district. That number is growing, and we're averaging 40 to 50 new subscribers every single month. We talked about this already, Mr. Weishire and Superintendent Luciano, but we're always looking for new ways to go out into the community and reach our stakeholders. For the first time this school year, the district is hosting 3 district academic resource fairs throughout the district. The goal is to educate parents about free academic resources that can be used at home from grades kindergarten through 12th grade to help students succeed. Despite rain clouds and thunderstorms, we had over 250 people attend the first academic resource fair we had last week at Liberty High. Parents were invited to visit district department booths and community booths in the cafeteria, and then they had the opportunity to break out and choose 3 20-minute mini workshops that they could go to that best meet their family and their students' needs. We had workshops on digital education resources, parent portal, bring your own device, Got College, as well as free elementary academic resources. And of course, we had secondary academic resources as well. This Thursday, we're hosting our 2nd District Academic Resource Fair at Kissimmee Middle School, again as a reminder, from 6 to 8. And our final one will be at St. Cloud High School on October 14th from 6 to 8. Excellent customer service demands that our employees answer calls in a timely manner and limit the amount of time somebody is transferred or placed on hold. But in the course of doing business, we know that these 2 things do happen. In order to share our communication messages even further this year, we're working with the IT department to create timely on-hold messages that's going to replace the music that is heard when you call into the district office. Our on-hold messages will disseminate important information that will be changed out regularly for callers. I also do want to mention that we're working with the Human Resources Department to communicate clear messages to every single new hire in the district. When they go through orientation with Tammy's department, we are creating a new employee orientation video so they hear straight from the superintendent our vision, our expectations, and the culture, and our goal to outperform everybody else in the district. They're hearing it from the superintendent through their orientation. I do want to also mention that our Oasis department has undergone a huge project this school year for a volunteer system to handle all the applications, the background check process, and volunteer management. And Robin and Luz have driven the process and have done an excellent job. They are managing the volunteers, 14,000 volunteers, and it's not an easy job. The new system is providing great features for us, better communication with our volunteers via email. We have never had a system that allows us to communicate via email to all of our volunteers. We do now. We now have better search capabilities in finding volunteers at the district and school level. We have the availability of many new and different reports that can be generated both at the district and at the school level. And our school-based volunteer coordinators have found it easier when they input the volunteer hours that take place outside of the traditional school day. And the new system allows for additional questions to be asked on the online application so we can better match a volunteer with a school's needs. That has been a wonderful thing through this new process. So all of these new communication methods are being added to our ever-expanding toolbox of programs and efforts to enhance communication with our many stakeholders. I've listed a few on the screens. That's some of our many existing programs on the slide before you. Thank you to the superintendent and school board for your continued support of outstanding communications with all of our stakeholders across the district. I'm happy to answer any questions that you might have.
Thank you, Dana. Mr. Wheeler?
Well, first off, I just want to say, I mean, since I've been on the school board, Dana, I think you're the only person in leadership that's been in the same position since I first got here. I've seen a lot of people come and go, but you're still here and I'm still here. And Dana's been recognized statewide also, her department, for what they do. But I've got a real simple question. I've sent some people your way, and you brought it up. I get calls, and they don't raise to the level where I consider them urgent or more a nuisance. Some of these parents are getting calls announcing school events, et cetera, and they're getting multiple calls from their school, or they're getting calls and have been for years, and their son or daughter's been withdrawn going to private school, et cetera. And I've been sending them to 407-870-4007. Is that the right place for me to send them?
That's absolutely the right place. We use the student information system to pull. So sometimes people change cell phones, give inaccurate numbers, or they're inputted wrong. So we have a very simple process to take numbers out of the call-out system. As long as they're not tied to a student emergency number, we're happy to do that, and that's a very easy process. So just refer them to our office.
That's what I've been doing, and I haven't gotten a call back yet. So thank you for what you do. I appreciate you being proactive with this and realizing that what we've got now is outdated, and we need to, change with the times.
Absolutely.
Thank you. Good presentation.
You're welcome.
You could just send them all to Mr. Soto's phone, too, if you want.
If you do send them to me, just make sure that they send me an email instead of a voicemail. I did want to say one, and I'll be brief. First of all, I'm very pleased that this is happening, and and fairly soon. One of the things that I always felt was that for us to communicate and to connect better with our community, we needed to project a different image. And for a lot of parents and a lot of students, a lot of volunteers, one of the things that they have to overcome is, the daunting experience of having to relate with a bureaucracy. And it seems to me, just from looking for your presentation, that all of the social media, everything that you're doing, it's pretty much designed to go ahead and bridge that disconnect that there is. I think I'm going to be looking forward to it. The apps, the phone apps, I think that's brilliant. It definitely will make my job a lot easier when the resources of the school district are just there, are available electronically to the parents and students that I'm speaking with. So to that extent, I'm looking forward to seeing this implementation. So far, I'm very impressed with what you're presenting, Ms. Luciano, Dana. And if do you have any timeline as to when the web portals and those type of things will be up and running?
We've just finished the scope of work, and we are working with purchasing. So I do not have, I think it's going to take a couple months. So I'm anticipating that we would start design and the rebuild of the district website. That's got to come first. And that hopefully will start in January. And then the mobile app will be the second part of that. But our first #1 priority is going to be to redesign the website.
Very well. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Mine is a thank you. I know we've had a lot of conversations about this, both before I was on the school board and since I've been on the school board, and we've had some very healthy conversations about how we can do a more effective job in communicating with our stakeholders and making sure, again, to the point that Mr. Soto made, change the image and the view that people might have of our district based on the little limited information that they sometimes see or hear in the community. So mine is a sincere thank you to you for being very open-minded, you and your entire staff and team in community relations, to not be set in your ways and to say, well, this is how we've done it. But in fact, when we've sat and we've talked about it, you've always been very open and very willing to explore what is the next thing that we need to do. When there's challenges that have arisen by it, using the archiving system for social media, you didn't say, well, we can't do it. You said, we'll figure out how we need to get it done. So I want to say thank you for that. I think this is an extremely important piece of what we do, and the work that you guys do each and every day is really a vital component And I think it was made very real, again, on Thursday night last week when we saw parents coming out and the efforts that you guys are doing to make sure that all the stuff that happens with everybody around this room and around this table tonight, to bring it into the community and to find a way to connect with people. And we know that people are operating online. We know that they're looking for information online. We know that they want to view it on their mobile devices. All the stats that you said are the exact same things that we deal with in the real estate world and what I deal with every day. So being proactive to say we're going to adapt to where things are and be the type of district that we need to be, I just want you to know I sincerely appreciate the efforts, and I know it comes with a great deal of work. So thank you. Mr. Wheeler.
I just want to recognize, that Luz, you answer the phone 90% of the time whenever I at least call 4007. So I imagine you're answering the phone 90% of the time when anybody calls there. No matter what kind of a day you're having, you're cheerful, you're pleasant, you're professional, you're ready to handle anything. And, as the saying goes, first impressions, last. You only get one chance to make a first impression. I know you do a ton of stuff there, but you on the phone, you are great. You always, you're always enthusiastic, bright. I feel like you're somebody who's like almost got sunshine behind you when you answer the phone. But I just appreciate it. I know I've known you for many years. I just want to recognize the great job that you do. And it's not easy to answer the phone cheerful every time you pick up the phone because you don't know who's going to be there and what they're going to want. But you are cheerful, professional, resourceful, pleasant, and extremely capable. And I appreciate the job you do. I know Dana does, but you're sitting there and we're talking about this in your department, and I want to recognize you for what you do.
Thank you. We're very lucky to have her.
Board, anything else? Great. Thank you, Dana. We appreciate all the work you do. Board, we are now down to our regular agenda items. We're in curriculum instruction.
Mr. Chairman.
Yes, sir.
I make a motion to accept A through I as submitted.
I'd like to make an exception to that. If you don't mind, Board, I'd like to do A through D and then also H. And if any of the other charter holders are here, I'd like to hear from them. The specific questions I've got is, when are you going to open? What grade levels? What's your student capacity going to be? And any special programs? If the charter operators are here, I'd like to hear from them. If they're not here, then I don't know if they're here.
Mr. Wheeler, I made a motion to accept A through I. I'm assuming you will be willing to accept those in entirety if your questions are answered. Is that a correct assumption? Or I can make
a substitute motion where you take items A through D and item H for approval, and then we can take the other ones individually if they're here.
Sure. Let me just ask this because Mr. Long did make the original motion, and there actually was a very brief second on it. Are you okay with us taking them in one shot but having the discussion appropriate to them as opposed to breaking them out? Because are we getting to the same place at the end?
If their answers are satisfactory, I want to ask these questions if they're here from the charter operators.
Okay. So, Mr. Soto, I would want to come to you then because you were the one that said you would second the original motion.
Yeah, I'll withdraw my second. I think I'd like to hear from them as well.
Okay. And so then I would either look for another second on that original motion, or we can allow that motion to die, Mr. Long, and we'll entertain a substitute motion for the items as presented.
Withdraw.
Okay. Thank you.
I'll make a motion to accept items A through D and item H, because UCP is UCP, for approval as submitted.
Okay. So the motion then, Board, and I would look for a second, is approval under curriculum instruction items A through D as well as item H. Is there a second for that motion? Thank you, Mr. Soto. So we'll have discussion on those items if there are any, Board. Okay. Hearing and seeing none, all those in favor, please indicate by stating aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion does carry, and that was a motion by Mr. Wheeler with a second by Mr. Soto. And again, for Tanya, that was items A through D and including letter H. We're now down to letter E. Board, what is your pleasure?
Are they here?
Hi, good evening, board members and Superintendent Luciano. Before I start with the new charter applications recommendations, I would like to thank the charter school application review team for all the time and dedication they put into reviewing 8 charter applications. It was a daunting task, and I really appreciate everything that you did. Also, I want to say that all the charter schools that are recommended here tonight are looking for a 5-year contract with an opening date of August of 2015.
Okay. Okay.
And I know that you voted on UCP, but I would like to recognize Ana Velez, who is the principal of UCP here in Osceola, and they're doing a fantastic job. Thank you, Ana, for that.
And I couldn't agree with you more. UCP, you guys, I mean, yeah, you guys are awesome. Whatever you guys do, I mean, everybody needs to duplicate what you do. You love your kids and you serve a real niche that needs to be filled, so we appreciate what you do.
Thank you, it's a pleasure.
Thank you. Dr.
Yes.
Studio.
Okay, we're requesting approval of Legacy Academy of Osceola Charter School, of the Osceola Charter School application. They will be serving students in grades K to 8 with projected enrollment the first year of 720 students for a total enrollment of 928 students, and we have representative of Legacy here as well, if you have any questions for them.
I do, if they can come to the microphone.
You can come on up right here. Good evening and welcome to you. Mr. Wheeler?
Yeah, where else are you operating charter schools at present?
Currently, I am actually employed with St. Cloud Prep Academy.
Okay, okay, and how many, okay, so, and do you plan to offer any kind of special, what's going to be your hook? Why will students enroll in your school? What's the, you know, I mean, what are you going to do different?
Yeah, sure. I'm the academic, I'm the curriculum chair for the school board. The board chair underwent surgery and was unable to be here. Mm-hmm. So I believe that our hook is the fact that we are going to have a classical education. We offer a true classical model, and we have some leadership programs also in place. But the curriculum of the classical model is probably the #1 draw.
Will all your teachers be board certified?
And I would like to fake an answer, but I don't know the answer to that. I am, like I say, I'm not the board chair, and I don't know that particular process. I am focused strictly on the curriculum.
On the school that you help right now in St. Cloud, are all the teachers board certified?
Yes, they are.
Okay, okay. And, you know, we welcome charter schools, but we need you to be successful.
Right.
Every student in this district deserves to go to an A or an A and B school, and, you know, we want you to be a shining beacon of that. Now, do you plan on offering any interscholastic athletics at all?
Eventually, yes. And I think I can speak for the board when I say that we are so excited about this and so dedicated. My particular expertise is reading. And I know that if students cannot read by the 3rd grade, it's an indication of failure for the rest of their lives, basically. I know there's always exceptions and there's always outliers.
Well,
but I believe that very strongly and will push very strongly to have, I mean, I'm shooting for 90 to 95% reading at grade level by grade 3 because it's such a good indicator for success.
Explain to me your STEAM plan.
There are some schools that I have been looking at that have programs of extensive reading during the day and that build on layers, well, like the classical program does. You don't advance to point B until you have accomplished point A, until you have mastered that. And so whatever it takes, we want to be able to move these children along so that they will be reading at grade level by 3rd grade.
Not available.
I intentionally mentioned STEAM. Do you know what STEAM is, ma'am?
Pardon?
Do you know what STEAM is?
I have heard of it, yes. I'll have to refresh my memory.
Science, technology, arts, and math.
Right. STEM, I'm thinking.
I wasn't trying to trick you. I was really just curious.
Yeah, yeah.
So do you plan on having arts?
Absolutely. My thinking is if a student cannot read well by the 3rd grade, it doesn't matter what else they learn because they are lost at that point. So of course, yes, my PhD is in the humanities. I love the arts. So yes, there will be art, there will be literature, and there will be, well, without going into too much detail, there will be original source material for these students.
And what are you going to do for those accelerated students? You keep on, I mean, you talk about the kids making sure they can read. Now, I appreciate that. So let's talk about those accelerated middle school students.
There will be original source extensively. If they're already getting Lincoln's Gettysburg Address, for example, then we move on to his inauguration speeches. I mean, there is so much available to those that are accelerated.
What about math?
And they're doing, yeah, we're doing the Singapore math plan.
Singapore math.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Okay. And Dr. Esposito, you're confident that this is going to be, okay. I'll make a motion to approve the Legacy Academy of Osceola Charter School application as submitted.
Thank you, Board. There is a motion. Is there a second? Thank you, Mr. Soto. So we do have a motion by Mr. Wheeler with a second by Mr. Soto on the approval of letter E, which is the Legacy Academy of Osceola Charter application. Board, any other discussion on this? Hearing seeing none, all those in favor, please indicate by stating aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. The motion does carry 5-0.
And before we move into the heritage, I want to clarify that all charter school teachers are Florida certified, and we follow up and we monitor that certification.
I would hope
The
so.
HR department helped us work with that. The second one is approval of the Heritage Academy of Osceola Charter School application. Is exactly the same group, so there were mirror image applications, and they will also be serving students in grades K-8 with initial enrollment of 720 and final enrollment of 928 students.
I've got some questions then. I didn't realize you had 2 applications. So, do you have, can you come to the microphone, please? I admire your ambition to open 2 schools in 1 year. I hope you were successful at it. The question I've got for you is, and I realize you don't have to commit to this right now, but do you have any geographic preferences or areas that you're, because you got 2 schools, I mean, you don't want to open them next to each other.
Correct.
So geographically, what are you thinking?
The current one for Heritage or for Legacy?
But, well, you got 2,
Okay.
so. Yeah,
one will be in the area around Tapestry.
Okay.
The Loop. The other will be in Narcoossee.
And the one around Tapestry and Narcoossee, how many acres do you expect each site to be?
I am not sure.
What, do you have a goal? Do you have a goal for this footprint you'd like to have the school on? I realize you haven't secured land, I get that, but I mean, you know, in a perfect world, how many acres would you want to put the school on with, you know, with a goal of almost 1,000
I'm a
kids?
facility manager of St. Cloud Prep. In my world, it would, how many rooms do I need to have cleaned, and how many floors do I need shiny, and how many acres do I have to mow? So,
well, you're talking about putting 900 and some odd students in one of these schools.
Correct.
I mean, you need parking, you need recreational fields. I mean, you haven't
Correct.
thought this through, really?
If I was to ballpark, I'd say probably 20 to 30 acres.
Okay. Okay, thank you. I'll make a motion to approve Heritage Academy of Osceola Charter School application as submitted.
Thank you, Board. There is a motion for the approval. Is there a second on this item? I'll second. Thank you, Mr. Soto. So we have a motion by Mr. Wheeler with a second by Mr. Soto on the approval of letter F, which is the Heritage Academy of Osceola Charter School application. Board, any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all those in favor, please indicate by stating aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. The motion does carry 5-0. Thank you.
We're recommending approval of, and I have to skip UCP, of St. Cloud Prep High, and let me make sure that I'm not skipping anyone.
Yeah, we need to go to SLAM.
Yeah, that's what I want to make sure that I follow. Sports, okay. We're requesting approval of the Sports Leadership and Management Academy Charter School application. This charter school will serve students in grades 6 to 12 with an initial enrollment of 1,175 students and a final enrollment of 2,000 students. And they're representative here with us today, if you have any questions.
Good evening.
And there's 4 of you. What are your different titles, just so I know?
I am one of the board members, Alina Lopez. I'm the secretary.
Okay.
I assisted the school with the application.
Okay.
My name's Alex Tamargo. I'm the principal of SLAM in Miami.
Okay.
Also a consultant here.
Okay.
And I'm Taylor Smith, working with the project on finding a suitable site in Osceola County.
Well, Taylor, you and I know each other well. I guess the question I've got, you're talking about a school that's only going to have 2,000 students, I mean, a high school essentially. So you're going to have a gym, a football field. I mean, it's going to be a comprehensive. Are you also, now I know it's sports, et cetera, but are you going to have an auditorium, a music room, and you're going to have a full comprehensive program? I realize it's sports oriented, and I've coached, I know sports, but different kids get motivated to go to school for different reasons. Are you also going to have, you got to have a marching band too. So are you going to have music also in theater?
Absolutely.
Okay.
We do now.
Yeah.
How many students do you have in Miami?
In Miami, we're going to have 2,400.
Plus you're not open yet.
No, we're in year 2 with 1,000.
Okay.
Year 5, the plan is to have 2,400.
So you've got 1,000. So, and because you're a sports school, is your gym built already in Miami?
Yes.
Okay, and you're fielding basketball, football, lacrosse, soccer, the whole
We
shoot.
are offering 21 sports in Miami for
Okay.
students in grades 6 through 12. We're a middle high school.
Okay.
The only sport we're not offering right now because of budget reasons is football, but that's in the works.
Well, I understand. When you have 2,000 kids, you'll have enough for football.
When
so.
we get the bigger kids, then we'll.
So the question, how many acres do you think you're going to need for this 2,000 student school?
Well, what's wonderful about Osceola County is we've been looking at a multiple phase site. We're looking over in the Narcoossee area. We've got a site in identified in Poinciana. We've got one more in the Flora Ridge kind of central area, one in BVL. Each of them have the capacity to be over 25 acres, Jay, with a large component being playfield, or I call them playfields, sorry, athletic fields that are be a community resource as well as athletic fields that can be developed in phases. Our thinking is that we would open the facility this fall. If there's an issue with all of the sites, because of their size, have some wetlands on site, and there's some jurisdictional wetland issues which we couldn't proceed under contract until tonight, we very well recognize we may get into a planning issue, a permitting issue, and we may come back and say we need a planning year. It's not our intent, but we're here for the long range. But over time, very quickly, we'll open with a facility with the plan is with an indoor gym, and then we'll develop the fields in a multiple year phase. As the population grows, we'll grow the fields, and as Alex said, and ask any questions about their curriculum and their outputs in Miami have just been extraordinary already. But as the kids grow up, the football program will begin, and then the alumni will become the boosters, and it'll be this phenomenal, like many of your schools.
So your Miami school is projected to be 2,000 students also? 2,400?
Yeah.
And so how many acres is that site?
What's amazing in Miami, I could brag. What's amazing in Miami is it's a different concept. It's downtown in an area that had no new development for over 10 years.
Okay.
And serving I believe it's 87% free and reduced lunch.
92%.
92% free and reduced lunch. So it's a 6-story vertical campus on less than an acre with a gym on top that faces the Miami Marlins Stadium and the skyline on the other direction. And they're acquiring land adjacent to do an elevated athletic field.
So you're right off 95.
Yes. Yeah, you can see it from the
Okay, so I appreciate what you're doing. Right, well, obviously. So the question I've got is, how many stories high do you think you're going to do a school on a 25-acre site here for 2,000 students?
It'll be a combination of 2 and 3 stories.
Okay.
The way the elements seem to be coming together with Alex and the board and the way they're operating with the kids. The students seem to move through different elements, middle school high and then upper high. We think that the site planning will lend itself, the minimum 2 stories, but probably a 3-story element and a 2-story element. And then the rest will be parking, track, fields. And so the per acre, per student, it's an interesting evolving model. It won't be as large as an FSREF high school that the district would develop. It'll be under 70 acres by a significant percentage. But we're also talking net usable because the sites that we're working on, we're kind of setting retention as over and above this. So this is kind of a net usable plan. And whether we could ever co-locate next to a county park, at this point we're not doing that. But ideally, if SLAM were to have a second campus in Osceola County, perhaps later, joint use facilities would be awesome. But that's not in our radar right now.
I understand.
These are standalone fields that will be developed with the school, but open to the community.
Well, this is very exciting. We need high school student stations, so this is very, very, very exciting. I'll make a motion to approve the Sports Leadership Management Academy Osceola Charter School application as submitted.
Thank you, Board. There is a motion by Mr. Wheeler. I would need a second on this item. Thank you, Mr. Soto. So board, this is for letter G, the approval of Sports Leadership and Management Academy Charter School application. A motion by Mr. Wheeler, second by Mr. Soto. Any further discussion, board? Hearing and seeing none, all those in favor, please indicate by stating aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. The motion does carry 5-0. Thank you.
Thanks. By the way, the school has been on David Letterman and featured in the Washington Post on the cover of the Sunday magazine. So we'll send some links over so you can read some of the anecdotes about.
Please, I'd like to see that. Thank you.
Thank
Thank you.
Thank you.
I appreciate you being here.
Okay. We're recommending approval of St. Cloud Prep Academy High School. This school will serve students 9 to 12 with an initial enrollment of 192 students, capping up to 384 students. And representatives of St. Cloud Prep Academy K-8 are here to answer any questions you might have as well.
Thank you. Sure. Mr. Wheeler, do you have additional questions? Yeah, right in front.
Okay.
Hello, Board.
How are you?
My name is Carlos Silva. I'm the Vice Chair of the Board.
Okay, so you're going to open, is there any, I mean, you're obviously not going to be a 2,000 student high school. I get that. So is there any special programs? I mean, why will a young man or young lady or a family want to send a student to your school versus St. Cloud High School or Harmony High School? And I'm just curious, what's the hook?
Well, we currently have the St. Cloud Preparatory Academy, which is in Stevens Plantation, and we have that section to the left of Progress Lane. The high school, it's going to be to the right of Progress Lane, that property that's on the right side of Progress. So our plan is to have it one complete campus. There is a plan for a full football track, and we have tennis courts, baseball, basketball. Those are the sports programs that we're...
Boys and girls?
I'm sorry?
Boys and girls?
Yes.
Okay, okay.
In addition to that, kind of what sets us apart, we think, from other schools is that we do have character education, the Leader in Me program, Stephen Covey's Leader in Me program. And we are starting that K through 8 currently, and we plan to continue that on through the high school, in addition to Strengths Fighters, which is using that Gallup and utilizing, not only will teachers understand what their strengths are, but in understanding their own strengths, they'll be able to hone in on what their student strengths are. And so really be able to build leaders and just aid students in taking ownership of their education, of their decisions, of their life choices, and understanding themselves and what their capabilities are and what their strengths are in order to drive their success.
Well, I appreciate you being here, and we need you to be successful. Tell me about the arts programs that you offer right now.
Currently at St. Cloud Prep K through 8, we're doing the traditional programs. It's actually pretty rigorous, but we have the PE, physical education, health program, a music program, which is starting out as music appreciation, and then as the grades progress, it's getting into, we're working on some basic instruments and even a jazz ensemble at the 4th and 5th grade levels.
Do you think you'll have enough to support a visual arts program?
Well, we would love to get there. We would love to get there.
Okay, well, all you charter operators who are here that are applying, we want you to be successful. We need the student stations. We want our kids to go to high-performing schools all over the district. But remember, I mean, just because they're at your school, they're still our kids. And, you know, we want our kids to do great wherever they are. And you get a great benefit working with Dr. Esposito. She is, I've been working with her 10+ years. She's the gold standard as far as charter application, charter process. And to your credit, I haven't had anybody call complaining about her. I'd get charter operators calling, telling me how she's wrong. I'll say, why is she wrong? And you're right. And she's been wrong every time. So I appreciate all of you being here. I'll make a motion to approve the St. Cloud Preparatory Academy High School charter application as submitted.
Thank you, Mr. Soto. So, board, we do have a motion by Mr. Wheeler, with second by Mr. Soto, on the approval of letter I, St. Cloud Preparatory Academy High School charter application. Is there any other discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all those in favor, please indicate by stating aye.
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 Opposed, no. The motion does carry 5-0.
Thank you.
Thank you. Dr. Esposito, I wanted to just say thank you for your time earlier today. Board, I had a chance to sit with Dr. Esposito and kind of go through a lot of these things that we were talking about. I appreciate your time. I appreciate the hard work that you and your staff put into getting us to this point so that we can make these type of decisions. And then also I recognize as well that as we continue to have more charters coming online, is putting a great deal of stress on your staff and things that we need to be thinking about there as well to support what you're doing there. So just a sincere thanks for everything that you do.
Thank you so much, Board.
And to those that are still here from the charter side, I wanted to say as well, and Mr. Wheeler already said it, but welcome. We really do welcome you guys here. We welcome the partnership. I believe I can speak for my peers when I say that because we have a lot of conversation about how to deal with growth in Osceola County and deal with new student stations. And I think Mr. Wheeler was absolutely correct when he said we need you and we want you to be successful. It's vitally important to what we are all doing each and every day to educate these students and develop a skilled workforce in Osceola County. So I want to extend my sincere welcome to each of you. Yes, sir. Mr. Wheeler?
I just, and yeah, again, to echo what Mr. Weiser and what I said earlier, we want you to do great. I want nothing more than to be your biggest cheerleader. You get a D or an F, though, I'm going to drag you in front of the school board. And I don't want to do that. I've got no desire, no appetite, and you don't want me to do that. So I'm encouraging you, I'm going to hold you accountable. And I want nothing more than to find out you're an A school, to give you a call and tell you how great you're doing, to keep up the good work. What can we do for you? But if there's a D or an F, I'll be the first one you hear from on that one also. So I encourage you to be as successful as you can. Let us know what we can do to help you. But if we don't hear from you, we can't say yes or no also. So good luck to you. God bless you. You're working with our kids, and there's nothing more valuable and more important to me than our kids. So go out there and go get them.
Thank you, sir. Board, that does bring us down to business and finances, a number of items in there. Board, what is your pleasure?
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion to accept J through V as presented.
Second discussion.
Thank you, Board. So we do have a motion by Mr. Long with a second by Mr. Wheeler under business and finance for the approval of letters J through V. Discussion, Mr. Wheeler.
Todd, I'm glad you're getting up. I want to talk to you about J under here. Explain to me why you think and how you think we're getting our money's worth out of Gallagher Benefit Services. When we've got so many employees who can't afford to put their kids on their health care plan, we've got employees who won't be able to afford the deductible, they can't afford to put their spouse on the plan. So explain to me how Gallagher is money well spent. And I'm not telling you it's not, but I just need you to help me out with that.
Mm-hmm. Well, thank you for the question. Actually, Gallagher has been very instrumental in controlling cost in the district for healthcare related to healthcare. They help us navigate and looking at alternative solutions, especially when you're dealing with like the different healthcare industries, like Cigna, for example. They reach out to them. They also review and look from an analysis perspective to make sure what we are paying is in line with industry standards. And when I'm saying industry standards, they do a detailed analysis that they compare us to other K-12 organizations, plus they also compare us to the private industry. What they're doing for us is that they're actually helping us identify savings in not only in our health care plan, but dental, vision. They're very instrumental in working and looking at all the options available to us and helping us pick and navigate which one would be the best one for the district based on our current needs.
Okay.
And go ahead, sorry.
So if they're so instrumental and they're helping us find alternatives, our costs for healthcare have gone up 22% in the last 3 years, and our funding has only gone up 7%. I'm trying to, there's a little bit of a disconnect for me there. And again, I mean, you say we're trying to contain costs. I got bus drivers making less than $20,000 that are going to have $12,000 deductibles this year. And I realize that that's where we are right now. But I'm trying to figure out how, what they're doing for us. And relative to all of the analysis that you said, I'm not just, why can't we do any of that in-house? I don't, they're not, all they're doing is finding us plans that our employees can't afford and their families can't afford.
Well, they actually sit between the school district and the healthcare provider. And I'm going to go back to your one of the statements that you just mentioned. That was very clear, is that the level of funding for this that comes down from the state has not been at the same rate as what the healthcare industry is passing along in expenditures. So what Gallagher has been very instrumental doing is actually navigating this for us, identifying that's a problem. Healthcare industry is a problem, unfortunately. We're stuck in the middle of it, and we're just not getting the funding coming down from the state to help us mitigate that. And so we're having to pass more of the cost now onto our employees or to the employer, but the employer doesn't have the money to pay for it, unfortunately.
I understand that, but they're not really helping us find alternative solutions as much as guiding us to what's out there. I mean, it's kind of like we're walking into an ice cream store, and they got 3 flavors, vanilla, chocolate, and strawberry. We can't afford any of those, so maybe we need to make our own ice cream. Board, I would like to, hopefully, Mr. Long, you'll withdraw your motion. I'm willing to approve K through V, but I'm going to vote against J. So I'd like to withdraw my second.
Okay, so board, then I would need a second for approval of J through V, if that is your pleasure.
Again, is there an amended motion or just the original?
No, the original motion can still entertain a second if there is one. If there isn't, then the motion would die and we'd move to an alternative motion. Okay.
I'll make a motion.
So there is no second on the original motion with the withdrawal of Mr. Wheeler's second, and so the original motion will die at this point. So, board, we need a motion on business and finance items.
I'll make a motion on J. Request approval of second renewal option with Gallagher Benefit Services. I'm doing it just so we can vote on it, but I'm going to vote no.
So is your motion to deny the approval?
I'll make a motion to deny the approval, yes.
Okay, so board, there's a motion to deny letter J. I need a second on that, if it's your pleasure.
I'm going to second with discussion.
Okay. So we do have a motion by Mr. Wheeler, second Mr. Soto on J. Mr. Soto, discussion?
Yeah, I would rather have this pulled, but quite frankly, it's a question of value, something that you do understand and you have expressed to us. But then there's also, as a board, we are the ones that the employees and their families and everybody that we got to look out for. And I think that if Jay's intent is to go ahead and see whether we could do better with something different, then I would have to go ahead and say, maybe we have to look a different way. And there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, in terms of just keeping our options open. And if there's something we could do further with Gallagher, fine. Otherwise, it's a lot. It's $204,000 that we're contracting out from the district, and we're not getting a product that's really fitting our needs from our perspective. And that's what I would like to, stress to the board as to why I'm going to second the motion.
Okay. Discussion, Mr. Long.
First off, when I first came on the board, I can't remember, if, Mr. Cease, if you were in the meeting or not, where I sat down with Gallagher and Mr. Collins and 2 representatives from Cigna. And I think I was unruly in that meeting. I spoke very plainly that we're being overcharged and we're not getting anything. And Mr. Wheeler, I am so grateful that finally you've come along to, after 4 years of us sitting together, that now all of a sudden I'm glad that you recognize that our employees that are making $18,000 or bus drivers or secretaries or whoever can't afford this. I wish this would have been brought up 4 years ago when I tried to get this forward, and it was met with silence. I have looked at Gallagher and what they do. I have looked at different programs, Cigna, Blue Cross, et cetera, all across the country. I have stressed in front of this board many times ways we can save money to help our employees so they can afford the insurance, so they don't take half of their actual take-home pay to pay for these benefits. I don't know how other way to do this. I know that I've had separate meetings with Gallagher 4 years ago, and we had discussions, and they did come back with some ideas and directives. If we didn't use Gallagher, who would we use? Because this is something I brought up before, and we're still at that same spot, at that same place that we were 4 years ago. Thank you.
Thank you. And Mr. Wheeler, I see you have your light on. I want to comment, and then Mrs. Horn, if you have something, I want to give everyone an opportunity. We'll come back to you for additional comment if need be. Mr. Long, that was kind of my point on this as well, is Mr. Wheeler, I don't disagree with you that what we're dealing with regard to healthcare costs are ridiculous. But it has to do with the greater picture of what's happening in our nation with regard to healthcare costs. And we, just like every other employer, are falling victim to what's taking place in the greater scheme and the greater picture of it all. I do see that Gallagher does provide a benefit to us. If we feel like we can get a better service somewhere else, that's fine. But if we're trying to say that because healthcare insurance rates are going up across the board that it's their fault, or somehow that they didn't warn us for it, well, you know, that's every single employer in the United States of America right now. And that's every other school board as well. And this is something that we're not alone in trying to deal with. I recognize that there's a significant cost for our employees when it comes to these deductibles, but we also have to recognize there's a significant cost for us as a board and what we're spending for these policies to be available in the first place. We're funding over $6,000 a year for health insurance for our employees, and that's not an inexpensive number for us to consider as well. So if there's a solution that is outside of what we're doing, and whether it's moving forward with the motion tonight to deny this, or if this is a matter of tabling it and having Gallagher come back and speak to us at our next meeting, I'd be open to hear where that goes. But I'm a little hesitant because I feel like there may be an intent to blame them for something that's not their fault. They are trying to navigate and deal with the complexities of the Affordable Care Act and everything else that's happening just like we are. I see them as an ally and an asset to us to try to help navigate that and find the best cost savings that we can. And I would even harken back to a couple of board meetings ago when we had the conversation about adding additional physicians and family doctors to our plan. They were here, they went to work with our staff as well to try to make sure that that was expanded, and we did find some success in that. It's not to say everything's perfect, but I do think having somebody that's working on our behalf to try to find the best deal, negotiate for us, and consider the complexities of what we're dealing with is important. So those are my viewpoints at this point. Mrs. Horn, did you have anything you want to? I just didn't want to ignore you if you did.
Well, this is an issue that we've been dealing with for quite some time, and it's going to behoove us to, we just need to make sure that we're doing the right thing for our employees, but we also need to make sure that we can afford to make some concessions and so forth. So.
Okay. Thank you. Mr. Wheeler?
You know, if you keep doing the same thing over and over again, you expect change. That's insanity. And here, I'm just not ready to give $200,000 to spend good money after bad. And I'm not blaming them for anything. We are where we are, and I'm not convinced that going down a traditional path, which we have done, which to your point, other employers are doing it, and we're in the same boat as other employers. Well, we don't have to be other employers necessarily. You look at what Rosen Corporation's doing for their employees with their clinics. You look at the city of Ocoee, what St. Johns County School District is doing, what Polk County government's doing. I'm not convinced that sending them another $200,000 is money well spent. That money we can use for other things. What is it specifically right now? And I don't necessarily, Todd, you're not doing anything wrong. Your staff's not doing anything wrong. And I think that we are relying on staff for too much. We have to, I think board members need to step up and be leaders on this and realize, you know, it's okay to color outside the lines. What we're doing, what everybody else is doing, isn't working. It just isn't working for anybody. We're not but at the same time, you got to come to a point where you say, I'm not going to keep digging myself into that hole. Spend $200,000 to throw it back into that hole to be in the same position we're in now. Our employees need something else we haven't gotten from them. They've been on board with us for years. They're doing their best. Obviously, their best isn't working for our employees. So we need to find another way, another solution. Again, I know you guys are busy. I know you guys are working as hard as you can, and that we are lean and mean, and nobody's on a coffee break here. I'm not blaming anybody, but I think it's on us as board members. There are solutions out there that everybody needs from a leadership perspective. We all need to be looking at and embracing and finding those solutions. And I'm not convinced that throwing $200,000 at Gallagher is going to get us where we need to be.
Okay. Mr. Long.
Thank you. I'll try and not be repetitive. Mr. Wheeler, you said that cost has gone up 22% for our employees. For the district. Okay. Well, in the private sector, it's up over 31%. And meeting with Gallagher and sit on your computer and look it all up. I'm not saying Gallagher's doing the best deal. As a matter of fact, you may recall that many times I've stated that when we do these continuing contracts and renewals without putting it on the street actually hurts us, without putting stuff out for a bid. I understand what you're saying, and I can agree with part of what you're saying, because I've always said, specific under our facilities and business and finance, to put things out in the street to see if we can get a better price, to see if we can get somebody, a company that can come in with some new ideas, fresh perspective, and can get something done for a better price. I'm all for that. These are tax dollars. If we can find some way to do that, I'm all for that. The alternative, because if your motion passes to not renew this, then we have to go forward and say, oh, are we going to bring it back in a month? Or are we going to put this out in the street? I would like to hear your opinion on that.
Sure. First off, to your point, you're right. It's gone up in the private sector, and they're finding the models. We need a model that doesn't exist. We can't keep on using the same model that's out there. We need something different, something for Osceola County Schools. Yes, when we get a new board, I think one of the first things we need to do in December or January is have a workshop, not just with the board. Invite Florida Hospital in, invite Osceola Regional in, invite St. Cloud Hospital in, invite local physicians who are primary care, OBGYN, internist, pediatricians. If CVS wants to join, we'll invite them. But we need to come together and do a collaborative solution that doesn't exist right now. We need something that works for us, works for our employees, and to send another $200,000 towards something that it's getting to the point where it's unaffordable for our employees. When I got teachers telling me they can't afford to put their kids on their health care plan, something's wrong. And I'm not blaming anybody, but what we're doing now isn't working. And to send another $200,000 towards something that's getting worse instead of better doesn't make any sense to me.
Mr. Wheeler, I'm begging the question again. The question again is, if your motion passes this evening, are you suggesting that we put this on the street, or we wait a month and then bring this back again to approve? Where are you going with
I don't want to put this out on the street. No, what I want to do is I want to come up with a solution that doesn't exist. I want to invite parties in that have a vested interest, that have got the expertise, that are in this community, and with new board members, new ideas, and listen. And we can always come back to Gallagher again if we need to. I'm not saying we can't, but I think right now, where we are, we're at a crossroads. We can keep going on the path we're on, which isn't getting us where we need to be. It's just costing us more. And right, the private sector might be at 31, we're at 22. We can't afford 22. So now that we know that, I say we go down a different path. So I don't want to put anything on the street. I want to bring people in who know this business, know it better than me, maybe know something we don't know, and have a different way of doing it. And maybe they don't. But I don't want to send $200,000. If you want to vote to send them $200,000, that's your choice. I'm not going to vote for that.
Okay, a couple of quick things, and there are some lights on. And Superintendent, do you still want to comment on this?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
One thing that I want to add is that we are looking at other options, and we are trying to explore what may exist. And the superintendent and I have been part of conversations, and risk management is working as well, and talking with the cities, with the county, with Toho Water, with KUA, with other entities that exist within our community, as well as we had a conversation a couple meetings ago about looking at creating a cohort or something with surrounding school districts as well. So we are exploring what other options exist. I don't want anybody to have the thought or the opinion that we're just going forward business as usual. We sat in a workshop in this very room and had a conversation about we need to be creative, we need to find other options. My genuine concern, and I do need to turn to Todd at some point on this, but we'll kind of have some more discussion as needed, is if we don't approve this, what does that look like for us? And then bear in mind that we're talking about the fact that it's a $195,000 contract, but if that work then had to be absorbed by other people, other staff in the district, then what would that cost us? The finance department is already stretched as it is. Risk management is completely stretched as it is. So then we have to start looking about what type of employees do we hire to deal with this, and then does it ultimately cost us more money in the end? So I think that's something that we need to have in the context of the conversation. My comment, or maybe even my question, board, would be maybe it's more appropriate for us to postpone the vote on this into what month are we in, October, until our November board meeting. Give some time for staff to review this, bring something further back, bring Gallagher back even, and let's have a conversation at that point in time. I think I share where Mr. Long was going. If we don't approve this, and we don't have the solutions, where does that really leave us? Because business still has to continue for the school district. Well, that's fine. The comment was that it forces us to create a solution. I don't want to put this district in a position, though, to where we don't have the resources that we need to deal with what we need to, and we say that we're going to come up with a solution that admittedly doesn't even exist at this point, and then what? So I think your points are valid. Don't get me wrong. I'm just not sure that denying this or voting this down tonight, as opposed to maybe postponing this vote to a future board date so that we can have some more review and discussion from staff and from Gallagher, might be a more appropriate approach. Oh, I would welcome the answer.
You asked, what happens, we absorb this work, how many, we can hire employees all day long to lose us money. I mean, that's what we're talking about. We're talking about a financial model right now that we can't afford. So we can find people all day long to do that. As far as absorbing something, I'm not worried about that. Again, we're not doing anything wrong. We are playing in the arena that everybody else is. Well, we can't afford to be in that arena. That's what it comes down to. Okay. And somebody's got to do something. And I'm not discounting any of the alternative things people are looking at. But we need to compress that timeline and be more aggressive and realize we may not be able to come up with a consortium of school districts and counties and cities. We still got 7,000 employees and their families that we need to take care of. And if we can get somebody else on board, great, but we shouldn't count on that. That's like waiting for someone to go work out with you. If you do that, you're never going to work out. So the point, if you want to table it, I'm fine with that. However, I don't see what Gallagher's going to say if they come in to compel me to spend $200,000 with them.
That's fine. Superintendent?
Thank you so much. Thank you. Mr. Weishire, I agree with you. My concern is, what are the consequences if we don't go through with this? And I would like, Ken and Todd have been working diligently on other options, and they have been working with Gallagher. So I would appreciate if we can just give them a couple of minutes to speak, so that then we can decide whether there is a vote or we can table this so that there's continued conversation the next time.
Sure.
Thank you.
One thing I would like to add before actually Ken gets started
Melba,
here.
I've got to apologize. I didn't bring this up to you before, and I apologize for that. However, this,
I feel as you do, so it's okay. I need them to speak.
Okay, that's
Thank
fine.
you.
One thing I would like to mention, as I mentioned, Arthur J. Gallagher, or Gallagher Consulting Services has been very instrumental in navigating healthcare increases, not only with us, but with the other firms. What they do for us is they actually navigate the legal aspect of it as well. They act like we would have a board attorney where we can consult with that provides guidance to the school district. That's the capacity that Gallagher is actually fulfilling for us. They have the expertise in order to assist district staff in making an intelligent decision in which direction would best work, or which direction that we should move in. But before that, Ken, do you want to make a comment on that?
Well, other than, they're not only assisting us there with plan designs and evaluation of plans and plan assisting us come up with plan designs, but from the legal aspect, help guide us through healthcare reform has been a critical issue over the last number of years. As a matter of fact, if you refer to your cover page, this original contract was in 2012. So when we were originally, 4 years ago, we were actually with a different company that we had lost faith in. We did go out to bid and put it on the streets and market these services, and ended up with Gallagher Benefit Services at a reduced rate from what we had been being charged by the prior provider of these services. Pardon me?
Is that Aon?
Aon, yes, sir.
I'm not convinced there's any firm out there that can help us. That we got to come up with something on our own.
But their assistance in whatever we use them for actuarial services, so they're able, if we do come up with different ideas, they can take it back to the actuaries. They actually can analyze it based on their experience and analyze what they anticipate savings would be for us, and put numbers to it for us that we can't necessarily come up with on our own.
Superintendent, anything further?
No, sir. Todd, do you have a final comment?
I just want to go off of what Melba was sharing with you as well. We've been very active at finding cost-saving solutions here that we can pass on to our members and to the district. We have been working very closely with Gallagher to provide other options, as Mr. Willer has greatly expressed. By changing in mid-path could stalemate some of that, unfortunately, because we are making progress at working, maybe, like you said, the consortium, or meeting with our county friends, our city friends, and seeing what they're actually doing as far as maybe opening up a healthcare clinic, a sponsored healthcare clinic. So these are things that we're looking at, and we're getting to that point. But unfortunately, if we change focus now, because they really are doing a wonderful job for this district and saving money, I'd be the first one to say if they weren't, and was not really happy with it. So we moved to Gallagher, doing a wonderful job for the district, and we're making progress. And unfortunately, it would stalemate that progress by changing midstream.
Okay, couple of quick things. First of all, the Our Lights On, Mrs. Horn would be up next, followed by Mr. Long, and then Ms. Willer come back to you. I would also clarify again is that if it is the desire of this board to move forward with this at a later date, the proper motion would be a motion to postpone, and we can put a date on that. We do have a November 18th board meeting, and so we can make a motion to postpone this vote until that point in time, provide time for further insight, dialogue, research, idea development, whatever it might be. So just so you know, that would be an appropriate way for us to go if it's the pleasure of the board. Mrs. Horn?
I think many years ago, Ken, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, didn't we approach Osceola County to pony up with the district as far as insurance?
Yes.
And didn't they decline because of all the maternity leaves that we had? Wasn't that one of the reasons? Well,
possibly.
Yeah.
But I don't remember specifically the.
I think that was the case many years ago. But I think it would,
interested in joining forces with us,
but I think it would probably behoove us to maybe check with some of our surrounding school boards, Polk County, Brevard, Orange County, and maybe.
Right. And I will say as well that when we met with the elected leaders from those various agencies as well as their administrators, including the county, there was a receptive idea to, we all are trying to figure out how to wrap our hands around this. Let's start to talk and figure out what we can do. And I know that Mr. DeBoard is in the process, or has been, also coordinating some meetings and some dialogue with risk management from those other agencies as well. So even though the flavor may not have been there in the past, the willingness to have dialogue and work collaboratively does exist at this point in time. So whether or not it solves everything is yet to be seen, but the desire is there. So, Mr. Long.
I'm looking at this, and what's already been said by our experts, not by the board members, but our experts, our financial people, our superintendent, that they need the help of these experts. They can come in and get the job done. I look at this and we could really get in the weeds. They could bring book after book, thick, and you get in and you look at all this stuff. And I mentioned it before, just one little item that our employees and women all across the country is the newest flavor is they have to go get a mammogram, and after that, automatically got to go get an ultrasound because it's the new thing. It's not covered. It's not covered by our plan. Zero. So it's 100% on the back of our employees. I believe that's wrong.
That's correct.
Would you share, Ken?
Yeah. It's the mammogram, the initial mammogram is covered at 100%.
The ultrasound is not.
But I don't think it's not covered. I mean, it's covered, but it may not be covered at 100%, but it would still be covered by our plan.
Not the paperwork I saw. If I'm wrong, I apologize. But
it is covered 100%. I know.
The ultrasound is?
Done that. Yes.
The ultrasound. Well, then I'm wrong, and I apologize. But I look at this, and I say, when you look at these packages of everything that's in there, and you start going in and you get your bill, and you see what your copay is, and your deductible, and your monthly charge, and like this, I agree, it's unsustainable. But we have to make a decision. Mr. Wheeler, I'm asking that you withdraw your motion, and then I would make a motion to table J for 2 weeks until we can come back. And any board member that has questions to sit and meet with Todd and Gallagher, our superintendent, things, so you can get those questions. I agree with you. We've got to find a way to save money, but to say to come up with something that doesn't exist and do it in 2 weeks is not going to happen. And meantime, if this falls by the wayside, everything that you've been working on stops. So I'm requesting that your motion be withdrawn.
Well, so you could make a motion to table or a motion to postpone, and that would be a priority motion, and that could go forward without the motion being withdrawn. I would just clarify again that I think really what you're wanting to do is make a motion to postpone with a date certain, as opposed to a motion to table, which means that we can pick it up at any point in time, including during this meeting.
So moved.
Okay, so it's a motion to postpone?
So moved, yes.
Okay. And then to clarify, is that a motion to postpone to our November 18th meeting?
Yes.
Okay. So, Board, there is a motion to postpone this item, which is letter J, until it's already been motioned by Mr. Long with a second by Mrs. Horn. There is no discussion on that. We would then at this point move for a vote. And Mr. Brown, I am correct on that there is no discussion. Right, thank you. So at this time, we'll call for a vote. All those in favor of postponing this until our November 18th meeting, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. And that does carry. So this item will come back up on November 18th.
I'd just like to answer two things on this. First off, Mrs. Horn brought up the fact that we approached the county years ago. The reason the county didn't want to do it then, according to a county commissioner, was because we have too high a percentage of employees who are women of childbearing age.
That's what I said.
That's number one. Number two, keep in mind, this item, we would be paying Arthur J. Gallagher more than our superintendent makes. Our superintendent is in charge of 7,000 employees, over 50,000 students, an $800 million budget, and she's not trying to lose. And she's working to fight to get us as much money and as much performance as we can. We want to pay a company more money than we pay the superintendent for something that's going upside down for us.
Okay, thank you. Board, we are under
Mr.
Business
Chairman?
and Finance letters K through V.
I make a motion to accept K through V as proposed.
Second.
Thank you. So, Board, there is a motion by Mr. Long with a second by Mr. Wheeler on the approval of letters K through V under Business and Finance. Board, is there any discussion on these items? Okay. Hearing and seeing none, all those in favor, please indicate by stating aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. The motion does carry 5-0.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion to accept W through Z as presented.
Second.
Thank you. Board, under Information and Technology Services, a motion by Mr. Long with a second by Mr. Wheeler on the approval of letters W through Z. Board, is there any discussion on these items? Okay. Hearing and seeing none, all those in favor, please indicate by stating aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. That motion does carry as well, 5-0. Facilities.
Make a motion to approve AA as presented.
Okay, and so we do have a motion by Mr. Wheeler with a second by Mr. Soto on approval of facilities letter AA.
Discussion.
Board, and thank you, Mr. Long, as well. And remember, when we concluded our workshop on this item, where we had left off, which obviously we can pick up tonight, was the thought of accepting our impact fee study, but staying with our current methodology that we're using right now, which is to provide for a 10% reduction on the fees as allocated or as indicated in the study. So that's where we left off in the workshop.
That's not my motion.
I understand that's not your motion, though, so we will move to discussion at this, and Mr. Long, you have the floor.
Mr. Chairman, I am just mirrored what you were just going to say right there. So I had a discussion with Mr. Wells today, and before we vote on this, I'd like to have him clarify, as he did with me on the phone, what this AA is and what this means to us.
Sure, thank you.
Thank you, Board. We had implemented a new study with Tyndall Oliver and Associates. They put together the study, and it was based upon 3 methodologies that the board had requested them to look at. Prior, we had only been using the dwelling method, and the study includes square footage and the number of bedrooms, and it compares all of those together. What staff has done is we presented it to our Business Advisory Board, the Growth Management Task Force at the Kissimmee Chamber, and the Central Florida Home Builders Association have all had input into this, and they've all agreed that the fairest method would be to stay with the dwelling methodology, which is your single-family townhomes, multifamily and condos, and then mobile homes, broken out as such. In your packet, in the study on page 25, we have table 12, which identifies the dwelling types with the new adjusted assessed rate. Staff is bringing forward tonight asking for approval of the study or adoption of the study and the assessment of the rates at 100% based upon the new calculations in the study. That's what staff is recommending.
Mr. Long, did you have further clarification you wanted on that?
I wanted to make sure that all 5 board members understand what's being requested here. I can agree to accepting the study as presented, and I thank the study because I was the one that brought that up, attempting to go outside the box and look at either square footage or bedroom size and see if we can come up with a fair amount. And there was quite a bit of discussion that, and I thank everyone involved for trying to come up with something that was fair, and for all 3 of those organizations to come to the conclusion that Kaleida just laid out, that it's best to stay with a single-family townhome as a combination instead of going another direction. As far as the calculated impact fee as opposed to our current adopted fee, I believe, as I believe Mr. Weisheimer's indicated, that keeping our current rate with a 10% reduction would, in my opinion, would be the best solution. Yes, I understand we need student stations, and yes, we just approved another handful of charter schools, and the need for student stations and the money. I don't want to belabor this, but I was raised with the idea it's not how much money you make, it's what you spend it on. And before I came on this board, along with Mrs. Horn and with our chairman and Mr. Soto, we spent a considerable amount of money building, quote, Cadillac schools. And we built them with U-shaped roofs, and we built them with magnificent facades on the outside. And yet there were many classrooms that don't even have smartboards in them right now. If you look at the 2 newest high schools we built, beautiful Cadillac schools, large courtyards in them, beautiful sod, a lot of cement, a lot of different buildings that all 4 walls have to have hurricane resistance, when we could have built them in a smaller area. I'm looking at right now our capital portable needs. Just built Osceola High School a couple years ago, and now we need how many portables we know over there?
We'll be adding 6 more. They'll have a total of 13.
Right. I mean, we have to do it. We just built the school. We had all kinds of problems after it was built, trying to accommodate the students coming in. And I'm looking at this saying, why is it that, you know, we keep demanding more money, which we need, and then overspending on the schools? Anybody that's ever heard me speak up here, ad nauseum. We even had a workshop in which Mr. Wheeler requested experts. An expert came in and said, we built a middle school, it was put out, construction manager risk, we went hard bid and saved $8 million. And here we are having a big discussion on 200,000, but $8 million going out the door. $8 million. So it's not going to be up to me. It's going to be up to those gentlemen sitting in the back. It's going to be your workload. Sorry, Ricky, it's going to be your workload. And you're going to have to sit up here and you're going to have to pound on the table like I am right now and say, we can do better. We can do better on the construction of these schools. We could sit up here and say, hey, I got a lot of campaign money from these construction people, so motion to approve and let's roll right along. But every time you put a corner of the building, every time you put something on that facade, it costs money. And it doesn't help at all in the classroom. In the classroom. Wish we knew years ago that we had the money to do the wiring that was coming down the road. And now, oh, we got to do upgrades in the wiring. These things are always going to come along, but we need to be smarter, sharpen our pencils, do ideas to get the best possible student station to help our teachers, give them the cutting-edge equipment needed to educate our kids. It's not how many truckloads of sod. It's not that U-shaped roof. It's not how many square miles of sidewalks you put in. It's what goes in the classroom. So if I had my wish, I'd do just as the chairman just said, keep our current rate with the 10% reduction. Thank you.
Thank you. And I do want to clarify, though, Mr. Long, what I was actually saying is go with the new rate with the 10% reduction.
With the 10% reduction.
Acknowledging the outcome of the study, but
Correct.
then also staying with the current approach of requesting from the county commission approval on a 10% reduction on that rate based on the study outcome. Okay.
My motion is just to accept the
No,
study.
I know. I totally understand your motion. And let me clarify in case any of the board members are confused. Mr. Wheeler's motion is to just adopt the study as it was presented, which would also then adopt the, or bring a proposal we'd bring to the commission, county commission, for approval of the new impact fee rates that are included in that study. That is the motion, so everyone is clear. Okay?
My motion wasn't to send anything to the county commission. My motion was just to accept the study.
Okay, so let me just get some clarification from you then for my own benefit. What then, what is your flavor with regard to how do we move forward? Because the study is asking us to move forward with some rates as well. What are you wanting to do there?
I think that in fairness to Mr. Long's lengthy point, we've got 2 new board members coming on board who've got to live with whatever decision. I think they should be, I think they should be able to vote on this because they've got to live with it. This is, I wouldn't personally, I don't want to tell somebody they don't need the money or they do. They got to be here for the next 4 years with whatever decision's made. Right now, I say we accept the study, then we table the actual rate we send to the county commission until November 18th, just like we do with Gallagher.
Sounds familiar.
That's helpful for me, and I appreciate the clarification. Mr. Wells, let me turn to you, and then board members, if you have any comments, I'd ask that you turn on your lights so I know who to turn to. Mr. Wells, does that create any, it doesn't create any problem for you if we were to go that route, does it? Is there any clarification we need to make in the motion to make sure that it's very clear
what is the motion again?
The motion at this point would simply be to accept the study as it's been presented, but it is not saying that this board is moving forward with accepting the rates that are in the study as a request to the county commission. And I don't know if we need to break those out.
Yeah, I think really you're combining the motion table with the motion. First step one is to accept
Withdraw
the study.
first.
I'll withdraw my first. Do you withdraw your second, Mr. Soto? Okay, my motion is specifically to accept the study as presented, period. Now, it's not the table, just to accept the study, then table would be a second motion. So.
Okay. Mr. Brown, does that, for your benefit, does that clarify what we're doing and where we're going and satisfy what you feel like we need to do?
Yeah, a motion to accept the study is in order, and that is a debatable motion.
Okay, sure. So then, board, that, and honestly, Mr. Will, I think that was your original motion anyway after you clarified it, so.
I second that motion if it hasn't been already.
So, board, then there's a motion by Mr. Wheeler, second by Mr. Long on just accepting the study, not necessarily what we're doing with rates going forward, okay? Any discussion on this, Mr. Soto? Your light's on. Did you want to comment on this or no?
No, it wasn't on this part.
Okay, thank you. So that said, no other discussion. All those in favor, please indicate by stating aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, no. The motion does carry 5-0 on the acceptance of the study.
I'm going to make a motion to table the discussion on whatever rate that is till the November 18th school board meeting.
Okay.
Can we have more specific language, Mr. Wheeler? That's kind of
Yeah, November 8th, yes. The board will consider what rate, based on the study that we got, that we will send to the county commission to request approval for.
I have a question still.
That,
what we're talking about is an amount, a rate, or both? Because
what we're talking about is we're going to work off the study and come up with a rate off of that. That's our benchmark, is the study. That's what we're going to work off.
What I'm asking, basically.
I hear what you're saying.
Well, let me just say this, because I think this may help a little bit. And Mr. Wheeler, you correct me if I'm wrong. His intent here is to allow the gentleman that'll be joining us in just about a month's time to be a part of the discussion and dialogue about what we're doing. We could act on this tonight as a sitting board. That's not the issue. I think you're trying to extend an opportunity for these gentlemen to be able to be a part of that conversation, which would be a discussion about what the rate is, what we're going to do, any reductions or not, or so on.
Okay, so it deals with everything. That's what I was wanted to be clear with.
Right.
I second that motion.
Mr. Chairman, I already seconded it, but I did have a point I want to bring up.
Yes, sir.
That this was the idea I put forward when we had the workshop was to wait and allow them, because they're the one that, they'll be doing the building schools, and they're the ones going to have to live with it, and allow them. But at that time, it was, no, we should deal with it. So here we are. Thank you, Mr. Wheeler, for supporting where I was at the workshop. As to Mr. Soto, you were saying, was it the rate or the percentage or the amount? The rate sets the amount. So that will be all clarified when November 18th comes around. So if you look at it, you'll see that the rate sets the amount.
Yep. Okay, so so where we stand right now is just to postpone the vote on what we're going to request from the county commission on any rate that the school board is going to charge with regard to impact fees. That is the motion that was made by Mr. Wheeler, seconded by Mr. Long, and that's where we are right now, board, which would be a motion to postpone until November 18th board meeting. Okay? All those in favor, please indicate by stating aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. The motion does carry 5-0. Thank you, Mr. Wells.
Can I say something?
Yes, sir.
Okay. I typically don't dispute board members' comments, but I'm going to have to tonight. We have gone round and round about the cost of facilities and how to build schools. We have been audited by the state of Florida, by McGladrey, through a forensic audit, and through Carr Riggs on every project. If anybody wants to look at the construction cost per square foot, per student station, or whatever the school district has built over the last 15 years, the books are open, okay? It's easy to sit up here and I have to listen to this. I go back tomorrow and everyone in the building over there is like, what have we done now? They haven't done anything, okay? The state of Florida's got the information on their website, DOE. You can pull it up, and we are under average on every line in the cost of construction. So,
Thank you, Mr. Wells. I think it's a very good point to make. Mr. Wheeler?
Mr. Wells, I appreciate your comments, your statements. I apologize, and you're absolutely right. However, I was focused on the issue at hand, and I appreciate the passion with which you spoke. You and your staff do a great job, and you're right. We were, years ago, we built Liberty High School. We built that school for, under $40 million. They were building the same school in Volusia County for $90 million, and the press called me about it. So we are doing a good job. I appreciate your comments, and I look forward to your continued excellence.
Mr. Long?
I concur with what Mr. Wells said. Everything is available to anyone looking at anything. Yes, we do build under what anyone else around here is building in Central Florida. Do not dispute that whatsoever. What I'm suggesting is that we could do better, just as Mr. Wheeler said about our insurance issues. We can do better if we attempt, and it won't be my decision, if we attempt to look at doing it another method. If we could save $8 million on a middle school by using another method, and our staff right there doing the job, I've never suggested once they weren't doing their job or that they're not doing what they're supposed to do correctly. I'm suggesting we can do better. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Wells, thank you for your comment, for your work, and please share the support of at least this board member with your staff when you go back tomorrow.
Thank you.
Share my support too, Clyde.
Moving along, superintendent's recommendation. Melba, nothing under that? No. Okay. Attorney's report, legal issues, Mr. Brown?
Nothing tonight, sir.
Thank you. Superintendent's update, Superintendent?
Nothing.
Okay. Board, under new business, you'll notice as chair, I did put on strategic goals and superintendent's contract. This is just a housekeeping item that we need to work through. As you recall, the contract that we have, the superintendent does stipulate that if she has achieved the goals that have been outlined by this board and adopted by this board within our strategic plan, then she is afforded the bonus that's aligned with those. It's been identified through her evaluation that 4 out of the 5 goals have been accomplished. It also is one of those things to where the contract, as it's written, says that if they've been accomplished and the board has expressed approval of that, which is exactly what we did a couple of months ago, that then automatically, based on contract language, the superintendent would receive the bonuses aligned with those goals. And so, just as a matter of information, I want to make sure that you knew that based on the contract language, the superintendent would be receiving bonuses on 4 out of the 5 goals. The one goal that was not accomplished that this board agreed on, and so did the superintendent, was goal number 1. So I just want to make sure everybody was aware of that. Mr. Brown, for clarification from your side, is there any action that's needed by this board on this item? It's my understanding that it's just a contract language. There's nothing we need to do.
Right, the contract in subsection E on page 16 carries the amount and multiplied times 4.
Right.
What is the amount?
And 2,000.
Okay. There's no vote
Automatic.
required.
It's
It's automatic
okay.
within the contract. And board, so you know, the reason we did it is because when we went through the process of the review of the superintendent's contract, we didn't necessarily have a direct conversation about that. And as the superintendent and I discussed, we want to make sure we're very transparent with not only the public, but also the board, so that you knew where we were going.
I'm slow, so you're doing both these issues at once.
Yeah, they're
Okay,
really
okay,
one
okay,
issue.
I thought so.
Yeah.
Did
So-
two things on, that's why I
Yep.
asked. Okay.
So, board, that's just for your benefit. There is no action that's needed. We want to make sure that you knew. There you go. That's what I came here for. New business, board, there isn't any, I don't believe. Any board member comments we need to hit or committee reports this evening? Okay, seeing none at this time, we will stand adjourned.
I've got one question.
Yes, sir.
Actually, Melvin, I should have called you. We talked about it at the last coalition meeting. Any information on the federal waiver for the accountability?
No, we haven't received any information regarding
Any idea when you think we'll get something?
The commissioner, we were at a meeting probably about, what, a week and a half ago, and the commissioner stated at that time that nothing, although they're keeping it as if you can have the 2 years from
Right, I
now.
realize
Yep.
that. Okay, I want to make sure we're not
So, no,
forfeiting.
we're-
Okay.
right now, we're at the 2 years.
That's all right.
Great. Thank you, board. At this time, we will stand adjourned.
Good night.
Okay, see ya.